Thank you.
Good luck.
Oh, yawn. All right.
Their coach didn't even show up. Alright, what is up, everybody? We're back with another exciting Rat Milker stream. Today, Rat Milkers go up against Spartan Varsity. For the sake of this broadcast, I'm just going to be calling them Spartan. Rat Milkers right now in red, very first time. They're not hosting. Congratulations on Rat Milkers. We're going to be looking at Narissa, Genji, Lucio. Hitscan is the one and only captain of Remember Me, Sir Gugabudimea. And Akiriko on the side of Sparta. We're looking at a Doomfist Reaper comp with Kiriko, Sojourn, and Juno. This is an interesting comp by Spartan University. Don't really know what they want to do with the Reaper, so we'll start seeing what they're cooking. All right, waiting for both teams to ready up. Rat Milkers, ready up first. Running out on the horse. Maybe a TP out of spawn. I know Monkumi has been practicing the TP out of spawn. Seen him in a few quick play games. These guys are constantly grinding. Let's see if that puts it together. They have been kind of unsuccessful so far in the scrims. So, let's see if they can put it together in this one. Alright. Final countdown is beginning. Let us see the battle begin. They are running out on the Doomfist Reaper comp. A bit of an unorthodox account. You really want to get the speed to run the Reaper around. Horse taking a demanding control of the map, throwing them back onto point. Leroy going off the cliff, yelling Leroy Jenkins while he's going down. Doomfist in a room with a horse. You don't want that as a horse. Spear gets the Reaper. However, everything's back up. Mukumi gets a beautiful boop onto their Doomfist. Satro cleaning the rest up, getting the Reaper. I think that's going to be it. They're going to fall back to point. First fight going on the way of the Rat Milkers. Pretty interesting that the Sojourn jumped off the map. Not a strategy you want to employ. Alright, going in the second fight. Doomfist with a charge pump. Satro don't want to shoot the Doomfist. Sparta making transition into White Room. Leg Day getting some good poke damage. Rat Milker's going to join them. Leroy super low, looking to get topped up. Not getting topped up by it. Getting ignored completely. Reaper teleports on, shooting the horse. Doomfist has easy backline access, misses the punch. That would have been tragic for Shay. Shay low. Horse dies, probably unsupported, probably not talking too much on that team. However, Mikumi comes in with a kill, followed by Grim, getting the Doomfist, cleaning that up. Grim going overzealous again. He's been known to do that, killed by taking on a three-piece. Mikumi taking an off angle. Very easy to kill here. Isolated from his team and supports, get killed. Rat Milkers down to 2, only an Ash and a Kiriko. I think this is going to be off the point as the point flips into favor of Sparta, beautifully cleaning it up. Thank you, Mythical Pig. I didn't know that. Welcome to the chat. And also, thank you for the follow. Didn't realize you were... Just got the follow notification, so thank you very much. Also, hi, George. Welcome to joining on the Discord whenever you want. Alright, let's see this take. Bridge taken for free. Nothing on the off angle. Doomfist hits the DPS, however, is pinched. Kiriko in rush engage. Horse ult used, but not too much engaged on that. Reaper dies low. Orbital comes out. I think the horse went overzealous there. There's nothing to go on. Flip, however, from Rat Milkers. Getting the percent on the board. Doomfist with a solid punch. Gets Shay. Surgakaba gets isolated for the most time. I'm going to call him Sam because that's just a mouthful of names. Rat Milk with Bob on point. Securing a little more percentage this game. I didn't even see that. Makumi gets the Reaper, but is it a little too early for that? I think it might be. Easy re-up by the Reaper can just teleport basically on point. Neither team really ready for that, so Let's see the poke battle. 4 alts coming up on the side of Spartans. They're in a good position to deny this bridge. Let's see what happens. Just a little bit poke. Rat Milkers transitioning into White Room. Let's see if they get caught. Let's see if they check the corner. This Reaper could be deadly. Reaper hiding in the corner. However, Sam gets picked off. Leg Day gets picked off as well. Both hit scans down for the count. Doomfist punch charged again. They still don't see the Reaper. Makumi might get taken down. He doesn't get bailed out by Shay. Reaper has to fall back out of there. Let's see if he gets any support carry. He does. Doomfist punches a rock. This isn't Minecraft. You're not going to get anything from that. Doomfist gets out. Katsune coming out. Oh! Makumi gets laid out by the OC. The rush might be too much. There's nothing to answer. I don't even think Grim got anything with his ult. That might be tragic. 99 on the side of Spartan. And that's going to be tower for you, ladies and gentlemen. What is up, child? How are you doing? Welcome to the stream and welcome to the cast of the Rat Milker Scrims. I'm your friendly caster, Alex. Nightmare wants in. I'm going to join him. George, do you want in? Back to custom game. No, George, you're already in here. Alright. Spectating is Nightmare. That Reaper, honestly, didn't do too much. However, the presence was felt. Normally you want a Lucio or some type of speed around it. The Reaper really didn't utilize it, just utilizing the sneakiness. Satoru playing a dangerous game by running the Roadhog. That Roadhog is just fuel for the Reaper. Let's see if they get anything out of this. Grim on the Brig. I don't know why we have a Kiriko Brig. That's a very interesting strategy. Maybe for the survivability of the backline, but if you're going to do the survivability of the backline, you might want an Ana. Let's see if they keep this rollout. They do. It is a interesting lineup for them. Makumi switching to the Genji. I want to see how this Kiriko Brig backline stacks up. It's not an orthodox strategy. Punch in for the Doomfist. This fight is going to be fought over the server room. Roadhog misses his hook. That's a valuable asset gone. Sir Gurkaba gets the Reaper. That's a good first pick. However, everyone is too low to engage on this. Makumi going deep gets the Kiriko. Looking to get Leroy. I don't think he can. Sam going too fast for his own good. Doomfist punches him out. Misses. No, he gets actually legged it. He was going for the Doomfist. Didn't get it though. Grim positioning in a way to prevent the Doomfist from doing anything. Second fight already on board. Doomfist super low. However, the punch is super engaged. It's going to hurt whoever touches it. Grim might need to rotate out. Doomfist with the speed. Reaper with the speed. Let's see if it gets him. Sam again gets knocked out. He's playing Punch-Out. The rest of these guys are playing Overwatch. Talking about Punch-Out. Makumi down. Leroy lays out the Roadhog. And that's going to be a flip in favor of Spartan. 0-25. Shay needs to get out. She might get staggered. Gets out. Everyone's stabilizing. Let's see what third fight holds for us. They are playing Roadhog and enjoying it. Statoro has a decent hog, and for this team it works, especially with the slower pace that they want to play. Pause coming in. I don't know what's going on. Maybe technical issues. We'll get right back to you at that. And in the meantime, how is everyone doing?
Everything okay?
Grim left the game. Nightmare joined. I think we're going to see a switch up here. My day is going well. I am learning how to use coin rollers. Don't know really how to use that. Also, let's do some Canadian fun facts. George, I don't know what your coins are called, but I have a Olympic Canadian dollar. So I think they're called loonies and toonies, right? Your coins. What are these called? Because I got in 2014. Yes, still worth $1. It is, but what You call them dollars, but I remember like when I lived in Canada, we had they were called another thing, like as a side thing. Like Loonies Toonies or like something like that. Yeah, I was going through my piggy bank. I got a bunch of different coins. I got some pesos. I think I got a yen in here somewhere. Or maybe. Here, I guess I'll show the coin off. So while we're paused, we're going to do a quick coin break. We're going to look at these coins that I got. Nothing too special, just trying to buy time. So let's go to, let's open this video camera. Oh, let's not open that. Let's go to full camera. I'm going to do the sick transition that George made. All right, we're here. I'm going to just take this. All right. So first coin is going to be, how do we do this? There you go. All right, this is the first coin. There you go. First coin. Gotta update the logo with this one. Don't forget. Oh yeah. A classic queen. Okay. Tell me if I'm saying this right. Don't speak French. A pastry? A pastry? I'm gonna say pie because there's an I in there. Now we got the little holy coin. Yes. So I was just emptying out the piggy bank. So we got that, and I think this is a Chinese coin. Yeah, because it has this is a Taiwanese coin. I know my window's like probably blasting it, but this is a picture of I think Chiang Kai-shek. And switch to a bunch of eyes. We are right now in a pause break. I don't know how to deal with those, so we're checking out these coins I got. And so next one is
he's loading in.
This one. All right, he's loading in. We'll get right back to it. Here is the Taiwanese coin. And then I got one more. What's the owl thing in the background? Oh, so this is a little gift I got from my sister for Christmas. It is a Overwatch air freshener. All right. We're going to head right back into the game. I'm going to put that down. We're going to transition back to general streaming. Everyone's ready. Vanilla. Yes, it's a car freshener. All right, now that everyone's on pause, we're going to get right back into the game. Satoro takes a shot. However, Reaper's taking this corner. This is a demanding position the Reaper's trying to take. Makumi coming in with an ult. Let's see what he does here. This is going to be a big ult for him. We're seeing if they're going to add a rush to it. Looking for the blade. On the side of a Spartan, you got Leader. Here comes the OC. Here comes the blade. Leroy, beautiful side out. Not going to get anything. Reaper gets his one. Doofus gets another and another. Backline dead. Makumi fails to secure any kills on that. Nothing left in the tank for Rat Milkers. Satoro has to go down because he is just a walking tank. Talking about which... Reaper is the only one who pulled the ult on Sparta. They're coming in with 3 ults. This might just be a shutout here. Let's see what Whole Hog does. Whole Hog could go really tragic if he pushes the Reaper into the team. Reaper taking the corner again. This is the position he likes to take. Let's just zoom in on the tank player. They're making an interesting rotation through mid. Gets checked by the corner. Almost half. That Reaper is scary for the Hog. Getting poked out. He can't sit there. That is just a shooting gallery from Thurg Akaba. Or Sam. Going with the ult. Sees it. Doesn't get it. Satoro gets the Reaper, though. That's his #1 nemesis right there. However, everyone on, remember, Rat Milker super low. Doofus in the back. Satoro gets his. Sam gets knocked out. That's a 3-piece McNugget meal by the Doomfist. Crazy. That just might be the game right there. There's no support line. There's no DPS line left. Kasune ripped by the Kiriko. Leroy gets the other one. That's a clean sweep. Sparta takes the map, but since we are streaming, we go to all 3 of them. Tragic, but not much you can do with the Hog there. The comp really just kind of punishes it. Hog wants to use this, take a breather. Doom can just punch him out of it. Reaper, like I said, just chews through Hog. Switches need to come through. So on the side of Rat Milkers. so far, no answers on the side of Rat Milkers. This has just been all Spartan. I'm gonna say Spartan. A Spartans game. Going on the final map, Night Market. Let's see if they can really focus up on it. Might be running out the Roadhog. I would be dissuaded from running the Roadhog. Wasn't the best look. I'm still really curious on the Brig Kiriko backline. That is an unorthodox backline, and it just didn't look like it worked. So let's see what's going on. Grim switching over to the Juno. We're going to see a Juno Brig. Roll switched. Shay going to the Brig. Grim going to the Juno. More orthodox, especially with Amalgameta. Let's see if they're going to TP out or they're going to TP point. Oh, there's a miscommunication there between the speed ring and the TP. No one takes the TP. Straight disrespecting Makumi's efforts to get you there faster. Alright, Rat Milkers look like they're rotating coast. Looking like they want to take this fight on the point. This is where you want to be. Oh my god, the backline, however, gets split. I don't think there's going to be a response. They see a weakness and an opportunity. They strike on it fast. Sparta takes out both supports for Rat Milkers. There was no rotation for him. There's no answer. This is just going to be a stagger. Satoru just needs to end it. Not going to get anything done. Sparta out-rotates them. I don't know if there was a miscommunication on a rotate or something, but that was tragic. Alright, let's see if they can make the rotation correctly this time. The split in your backline. You don't want your backline split, especially with this comp. Malga needs as much help as he possibly can. Sam taking a fight with a Reaper. Let's see who wins this fight or who gets pushed out. I'm wrong, actually. Shadow Queen gets Makumi with probably a good kunai or two. Shay, however, trades it out for support. Arguably a better trade. Sam getting super pressured, going super deep. The Doomfist is stabilizes, however. This should be an opening opportunity for Rat Milkers to head in. Crushing out the Reaper. He's down. Shay taking a few pot shots by the Ash. Don't want to lose a Juno here. Just want to stabilize. 42% on Sparta. Spartans. On the Spartans. 6% Rat Milkers. Sam out in the open again. Obviously, he doesn't play hit scan. He's a support player because he is constantly out of position. This Doomfist, however, likes to go deep. Doesn't get anything. Doesn't get what he's looking for. Super low. Let's see the fight engage on this side. Reaper coming up with an ult. No ult on the side of Rat Milkers. Juno taking burn damage. Doomfist finally gets taken out. Probably tank trade, however. Leg Day gets one. World gets another. Leg Day gets another. Sam, let's see if he can put his team on his back. Not going to happen. Flip comes in by Spartans. 45-32. 4 ults coming up on the side of Spartans. The Doomfist, Reaper, and Shadow. Shadow Queen's Katsune. Only 2 really coming up. You could probably build to an orbital this fight. It's going to be a Brig ult and an OC. They're going to make a rotation to point. Let's see if they get cut off again. Shay is back. It's just Shay and Sham in this room. They can get easily punished, and that's exactly what happens. The rotation was just too fast by the tank player. They're getting punished again. This fight can be won without ults. I don't know what Satoru's doing. They're basically feeding ult bank. At this point, Spartans could probably shut the door on them with their ults. Rat Milker's back with everyone. Bob comes out prematurely. Satellite, they want to engage fast in this. They want to win. Shay gets punched out. Rat Milker's forced to pop ults and spawn. However, Sam gets shut down. I think that's going to be it. Oh, wait. Makumi with the flip. That's going to buy him a crucial few seconds. However, 3 ults still on the board for it. Let's see if Makumi gets out. Makumi doesn't get out. Who's going to get the touch? That's what the question would be asked. No one's going to get touch. Rat Milkers getting absolutely dono-walled. Nothing there for them. Let's go into the comms, see what's going on. Alright, sounds like they understand what their problems are. They're talking about the rotations were very lackluster. Sam, how are we doing? How are you feeling after the hit scan? That was a generational throw performance, so I'm going to ask.
Yeah.
How does it feel playing Roz's role?
When there's a Doomfist, it feels pretty bad.
It looked pretty bad, especially on the rotations. You guys were constantly being shoved in spawn.
Yeah.
But
they were getting called, but it kind of felt like at least our backline was a little slow to respond to those. Like I know she said that they were just coming up, but like we were grouped for a second, and then like they would call it, and then like they would just linger like a second too long. I feel like that's what it seemed like to me, at least. I don't know if it looked different from up top.
Now, I also want to talk to you about the enemy comp. They're running a Doomfist Reaper comp, which is unseen. What do you think? What do you make of that?
I mean, they're not good, I guess. It's not. I mean, they're just kind of like whatever characters.
No, I agree, but like
they shouldn't like stop us from doing what we wanted to.
I agree with that. Reaper, a bit of an unorthodox pick onto this. Their comp really wants to like dive and rush, but like I think he might be a Reaper one trick. I could be wrong, however. No disrespect to the player.
Maybe. I mean, their timing isn't like they're coming in at the same time. It's a lot of one.
No, it's a lot of the Reaper holding an angle for them, and then the Doomfist capitalizes on that. That's what I'm looking at right now. On the side of Rat Milkers, however, we're looking at a traditional dive comp. What would you like to see from this team?
Just getting on the same page about where they want to set up and what they're looking for, what they're looking to do. I think that was probably like what they struggled with last one, and kind of like how I felt is like there was a bit of a lack of clarity of what we were trying to do, right? Like, oh, we're rotating left, but half our team is staying back. Or like we're sitting on main in that choke, so I start swinging right, but then we start swinging left. Or we get the call to swing left, and it's just like like what are we doing? Because like we were holding in there, and I was like, okay, maybe I have time to swing here. You could probably use. And then I get on that angle, and then we're calling like the rotate.
Yeah, that makes.
And to be fair to them, I guess like I was trying not to say anything either, like just kind of like follow their lead kind of a thing. But like maybe in like a real scenario, I would have called that, and maybe things would have played out differently in like that kind of scenario.
All right, let's see how this attack shapes up. We got a traditional dive comp, Reaper into the monkey. Doomfist positioning himself for the engage, trying to see if they're gonna dive above him, isolating Grim. That was a big problem with the backline last time. Grim and Shay would get constantly isolated. Here it goes. Too deep in the backline. Grim gets taken out. Shay's looking like she's going to be a tasty snack after this. The Reaper's coming to hunt. Nightmare, however, putting pressure on the Reaper. Reaper's not going to get it, however. Just killing that backline was enough to get Maybunk done. Reaper dead. Doesn't matter that much onto it, honestly. Ash is basically uncontested. Shay taking a few pot shots. Everyone's back. Reaper is about 20 seconds back. Doomfist going in. Deep. Misses his punch. Sleep. Everyone's looking at him. Does he die? He dies. Beautiful execution by Rat Milkers. Here it goes. The engage. Misses the jump. Tragic. Maymon going in alone. Says he can do it himself. Jump comes in. Kiriko dead. That's another backline. That's their whole backline for Spartans dead. Ash is looking like the next target. They get it. Good dive execution on that. Especially punishing the Doomfist, who's been overzealous in his punches.
Yeah, big time. I think we just gotta see some better cooldowns actually used on his engages.
All right.
We're not capitalizing on his on what I would say is his feeding.
Absolutely. Touch comes in though. Another fight here. Nightmare gets the Reaper. That's what you love to see. Beautiful bash by Grim, stunning the Doomfist out. That's what you wanted to see. However, wanted to point out, the monkey could have engaged, denying the backline access. That fight could have gone a little smoother.
Particularly on the Ash. That's the character needs to mark the most here.
However, Satoru, not known for his dive comps, I think he himself would say that. Nightmare taking a few pot shots at the Ash, taking away that angle. However, loses that battle, has to disengage.
I'd like to see him try to take it again.
Let's see if he takes that fight again.
Now they're swapping the Anna for him. Looks like they want to set up down the brig.
Punch comes in, nothing gets it. Let's check out this OC. This is the one ult that could... This is the one ult that could open this door for the Rat Milkers. They have Nano as well. Sachiro gets the Reaper. You love to see that. That's actually a beautiful dive by the Reaper Monkey. They got it together right now. Makumi gets it again. That should open up second.
Yeah.
Unless the Doomfist does something absolutely mental, however, gets punished for the deep engage. That's probably point cap right there.
I think so, yeah.
No ults used on the side of Rat Milkers. They're coming in with a full bank of ults. Exactly. I think that was just poor setup by Spartans here. Let's see if there's going to be a retouch. There's only one on point. So there is going to be a retouch. Doomfist misses punch. Bob comes out for the cart contest. Gets it.
Like to see a response or something. Yeah.
No ults.
Rally, maybe primal there.
A defensive support ult would have helped them. However, they do get one ult out. So not a total loss. However, we're coming in with a beat Kiriko Rush. And a Reaper ult. We need to... We do have 5 ults on the side of Rat Milkers. We need to see the defensive ults on the side of the supports come out. Or we need to see...
I think you want to look for good layering here, right? I don't think you want to see them blow 5.
No, if they blow 5, I think it would be tragic for their engage. Dive coming out, however, doesn't get the Reaper. Doomfist almost getting Nightmare. Nightmare feeds the punch. What is he doing? This is tragic. Blade coming out. I'm not even looking at the blade. Makumi doesn't get anything, however, gets the layup for his monkey. Doomfist low. Nightmare gets his Reaper. This could be fight point cap. They need to end this Doom. Alright, they get the Ash. I would say a 2... No, good.
I was gonna say that was a little bit sloppy. I mean, we got it with two ults, which is fine. But I think the execution was punishable. I think there was opportunities there for the enemy team to take advantage of how we approach that, because we essentially got split into 2 fights there, and just happened to win them both, you know.
Absolutely. If anything, I think that was a fumble on top of Spartans, especially since they didn't use any of their ults, and they do have these ults coming up.
Yeah.
However, we have 3 ults on the side of the Rat Milkers. However, Nightmare needs to stop feeding that punch. I've seen nothing but in a charged punch. Winston getting cut off. I don't like that. That was really avoidable. You just didn't need to sit there and face tank the Doomfist. 2 fights coming in, and Reaper's splitting him off. Reaper with this teleport. He's looking for that Death Blossom. Doesn't get it. Sachiro goes back. Grim gets the Reaper. That's a good pick. A charged punch. Someone yell at their DPS line. Stop charging that punch. Doomfist is just feeding on it. Gets Grim. They're going to have to regroup on this. Makumi goes for a weird cover. Gets punished by the Ash.
Again, I think that's actually the
Leroy
thing is a focus thing. Like, I think there's moments where like the Doom is really in and vulnerable, and if we just focus him, he dies. Even through the block, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think since we're not focusing him, he gets the charge and he's able to make a play off of it.
I agree. You could absolutely have burned the Doomfist there. He was way too deep. However, you need your team looking.
Right now.
Yeah, he's in their spawn, basically. You just need to focus on it, because we're right now splitting our attention. Here comes the Reaper Bleed. Shay gets a beautiful sleep. However, we're not using any ults. We've been sitting on this OC, Nano, and Brig ult for a good second now.
It's actually the second Nano. They did use it for the Blade earlier.
They did use it for the Blade, but... We've
been sitting on the Rally OC for a minute here.
The Rally OC, true. However, the Nano could have been used to, like, isolate this backline a bit more. However, we're taking 2 fights, like you said. Monkey over here to the left, and then the Rush coming in pretty easy with the teleport. Let's see what they do here. Doomfist in. No one sees Shadow Queen in the rafters. Good sleep, good Nano. Everyone's looking at him. This is what you wanted to see. Shadow Queen still it. However, Makumi taking matters in his own hand, making sure the cart is contested. You'd love to see the Monkey do that instead. OC finally comes out. Let's see if he gets anything. Bob comes out for the touch. That's going to be a stall. Reaper gets anything. You're not going to get anything with the OC. Burns the Bob. That's the intention you want to see. Sachiro looking like he's going to die. That'd be tragic. Gets out. Recontest in. Makumi with the blade. Makumi gets shut down. He sheathed that blade. Doomfist with the punch again. Rat Milker's getting pushed back. This is the crucial final 30 seconds. You can get at least one fight in. Let's see if...
We have a nano rally here.
Mhm.
I think this is a really good opportunity just to go for the nano monkey. Let him build his primal while he's in there, and then let him sustain in the back.
Couldn't agree more. That'd be... Oh my god, however, an assist, I think. Shay gets taken out. You need to rally. Doesn't rally. Monkey, however, does build primal. That's going to build him a little more time. However, this backline's getting absolutely dunked on. I think that's going to be the map for Rat Milkers. Never use that rally. I think that was the first rally, too.
Yeah, I don't think we got rallies though.
No. Leg Day kills itself for the third time this match. Going for records here. Not Leg Day, Leroy, my bad. If I was the Rat Milkers right now, I would like to see more alt usage. Like, more consistent, you know. Especially that rally. There's no reason to die to that Doomfist in the backline. So let's see how they set up. For the first point setup, when you're doing a dive comp, what are you looking for, Sam?
For our dive setup here, it depends what we get on our DPS here, to be honest.
Okay. Looks like they're taking some time to discuss the DPS. On the side of Spartan, they're pretty locked in. They know what they want to do. Leroy gonna take the first shot. Still thinking about the DPS lineup. Pause jam, nothing going on.
Makumi coming up on the Genji. Nightmare is asking me what he should do here. He feels like they're relying on him a little too much. And he is kind of the primary playmaker, I would say. Most of the success has come off of like a Soj pick.
A Soj pick or like damage put in by the Sojourn. Yeah. I want to see Makumi really capitalize on his blades. His blades have been kind of quiet through the last 3 scrims, you know? Yeah. Like, he's a solid Genji player, but when he whips out the blade, it's kind of disappointing. I know on the side of the support line, more liberal uses of that Brig alt. There's no reason a Doomfist that deep should get that many picks.
I would like the Genji to play Hotel, similar to like how we were talking about the Pharah. I think we need a little bit more pressure up in that area.
Okay.
Right, he's not as useful up in this high ground.
Mm-hmm.
I think this setup for everybody else is fine. Even the monkey, he can just drop point or dive something if Makumi calls it. Or we got a good anti or somewhere.
Okay, on that note, Nightmare going with the Hanzo, an unorthodox pick. However, you do see it every once in a while. It does have that one-shot potential. Monkey zoning off that platform by Doomfist. Doomfist getting low, forces the Suzu. That's good.
I don't mind that play at all.
They're still running the Widow. Leroy, Arana has to watch out for that.
There it is.
Reaper dives back.
Oh, nice shot.
Nightmare gets a beautiful log on the Reaper, shuts this down. Leroy going to cut off the backline for the Doomfist. However, Doomfist responds with a punch in. Satro going low, packs in from the Brig. Someone needs to look at the Monkey. Monkey is dead.
I think the problem was their Shay drop.
Absolutely, I think Shay dropped.
The position.
I agree. Now, let's see if Grim survives. He's fighting a Doomfist. Nightmare again opens things up for him. Shadow Queen, however, gets Shay. The death of your Ana is tragic. A recontest is possible. It's going to be dicey, though. Oh, the Genji gets found out. He probably wanted to stop for a second. I don't think this recontest is going to be good. This spear is blunted. It's going to come in anyways. Doomfist in the backline now. Got 2 fights going in. Monkey's out. I think that's going to be Cap. Going for the stun. That's it. Nightmare again opening things up. You love to see it. Grim in a room by her himself. Gets caught off. The support line's getting picked first. You don't want to see that. That's going to buy him so much space. Only the Ana healing. As much as Brig doesn't do a lot of open healing, it's still very much needed. Going down. Oh, sorry.
No, sorry. I was like lagging out for a second.
Okay. Makumi getting caught off again by this Doomfist. Probably going to get punished. Dies. It's just falling apart. They need to take a clean fight. Nightmare's probably going to get punished out next. That's it. Shay looking like the next target. Shay gets the target, though. Beautiful sleep. Probably helps stabilize this fight. Oh, this is going to be dicey. Grim, knowing that Doomfist punch, stunning him. Grim needs to get out of there, though. Dies. Doomfist coming in. They're basically at third point. Reaper pops it all. Gets nothing, though. I mean, gets Shay, but not really needed. This third point. They're basically fighting at third point. Satoru dies by the Doomfist. Doomfist is still in here. Nightmare goes onto the side of May. Sam, this is looking tragic. There's no reason to be fighting third point. Second's not even done yet.
Yeah, I think they're struggling to find that adjustment here.
Absolutely. Monkey taken back shots by the Doomfist. However, Doomfist is going to get punished. Makumi's blade, nanoed. Just swinging in air. Nothing. Lucio beat comes out, gets 2. That's the only 2 he needs. And that is second point, without a doubt, opened up by Sparta. Now picks coming in. Alright, this gives Rat Milkers the first, probably proper regroup. However, only 1 ult on the board. Spartans coming in with 2, an OC and a rush. Doomfist kind of builds ult almost instantly. Not even taking the fight on the corner. Not even... The jump comes in. Denies the high ground. You love to see that. That OC is deadly, so you need to deny the angles. However, Satoru getting it very low. Makumi gets his Reaper pick. First pick of the game that isn't Nightmare. OC comes in. Shots being fired. Makumi gets the deflect. That's the type of shutdown you needed to see on the DPS line. However, Satoru and Makumi super low, battling Lucio and Kiriko. They're still low. Doomfist.
That's 3 times in a row we've managed to like stun the Doom with either a counter bash or a sleep. And, like, he should have died on the first. We just have to turn on him. We need more pressure on him. That needs to be called, right? Like, Doom just has to die off of counter bashes and sleeps.
Absolutely. Reaper coming in. Gonna build this backline high ground up pan. Probably put the soldier in here. Reaper with an ult. Rush out. Let's see if we get a Beyblade meta coming in. Break ult out. Stabilizes the fight. However, Nightmare and Satoru get picked. This could be the end of this point. Raid boss Brig coming in. People are dying. Oh my god, Shay shuts it down. However, the point's just going to keep rolling on. Someone needs to touch. I think that actually is game. I'll give it to the support line. They know how to shut the Doomfist down. It's just that they need some help turning on him, you know?
Yeah.
Shay with a beautiful sleeps constantly. Grim with some beautiful Brig brashes. That's the end of the King's Row. Kind of looking tragic. Let's go into the comms, see what they're doing. Alright, we're heading into Saravasa. Right now, the score is 2-0 in the favor of Spartan. Sam, energy seems kind of low here.
Yeah. I think Satoru is maybe struggling a little bit, and as well as I think Grim from the jump seems a little low energy as well. And these are usually 2 of the bigger talkers.
Absolutely, you're noticing.
Once you lose energy from those guys, it kind of all falls from there, I guess.
You're noticing a lack of energy here. Sparta hasn't ran a different comp. They're just running the same thing. So let's see if this adaptation, they can adapt to it, you know. Should be pretty predictable on what they're running on the side of Rat Milkers, you know. Satoru going on the side of the Queen. We have seen him shine on it. So let's see if we can get that bounce back from him. Running the Ana Brig. Just to sustain against that Doomfist. Has been able to... Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, I wouldn't even mind a Juno Brig. Like, I think the Juno Brig is is gonna have a harder time punishing the Doom. But I like the speed of the Queen, and I think Juno's survivable enough that it's really just up to the Brig to counterbash and live against the Doom.
And we have seen Grim have that ability to counterbash.
Yeah.
So let's see how this first fight comes out. Oh, we're switching to a double speed comp? Oh, no, we're switching to a Lucio Kiri.
The Lucio Kiri.
That's a very standard.
This too.
Yep. 4 people on the side of Sparta going to the long sightline. Makumi spots this out. Let's see if they get a call on it. Oh, Nightmare, however, gets laid out by a punch. Good. Makumi also taking a punch to the face. Suzu's been forced out by the side of Sparta. However, you're down your hit scan. Don't really want to engage on this.
I think their approach walking the point was a little weird. Like, I think you immediately saw like half of them split towards the right side, while we still had our Queen walking main, and then eventually make the rotation, and then like Nightmare gets caught out there because of it, because of that like awkward, unclear rotation.
Yeah, this has been a constant problem with Rat Milkers this scrim. They're just getting caught out on these rotations. Doomfist can see that, easily punish it too. All right.
Pushing out this Sojourn.
They will. Nightmare lacking the range to really touch the Sojourn. However, they do get the Kiriko. Leroy gets the Sojourn. They're down 2. Even now. Down tank. Leroy super low on the side of it. Satro gets the Lucio with the pull. It's just the Reaper on the side of it. Staggering time. All right. I think that only came on because really good picks by Makumi.
Yeah, early pick on the carry, I think, kind of opened that up. And then he kind of he dashed into 3 and then made that fight sloppier than it needed to be.
It was looking very losable by the side of Rat Milkers. All right, ult coming up. Queen Kiriko on the side of Rat Milkers. On the side of Sparta, you're going to see the beat, and if they really wanted to, they could just rip a Kiriko rush. Get that space. Here it comes. Gets the Lucio. Gets the Reaper on the side. Oh, gets shut down. They don't even have to use it. Nightmare gets his 1, though. Shay, only person on point. Just needs to die fast. We don't need Lucio on a point. 99. Let's
say before that fight opened up, I would have liked to see at least some of us get on the high ground, especially just because like we can avoid some of that early Doom damage when he comes in with the slam.
Absolutely.
If nothing else, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've been seeing a lot of stacking on the side of Rat Milkers that allow that Doomfist to get maximum value and build that ult fast. They don't even look at the Doomfist here. He's just standing here. Punches into the back line. They needed to check their angles there. If this is CS, they would have been instantly dead. Makumi is isolated. However, Nightmare gets the Reaper. There's still 3 split here. I don't know where the tank is. Shay teleports to... Cass, yep.
On the Cass, yeah.
There's 2 different fights going on.
Yeah, again, 2 fights.
OC gets popped out. I have to look both ways. Don't know if this Doomfist is doing anything. Oh, gets Nightmare super low. This duo gets... Makumi pops a blade. Gets nothing. Oh, no, I lied. Gets the Lucio. Gets the Kiriko. You needed to see that. Rush coming out. Crazy that the Cass and... Oh! Reaper with a nothing burger ult. But it's crazy to see that the Kiri and the Cass survived that Doomfist punch. It was looking dicey for them. Alright, going to the next flashpoint in Garden. No ults on the side of either team. This is going to be an absolutely dry fight. However, Satro can and has shown to build ult quite quickly. They're looking the wrong way.
Yeah, they're setting up for the wrong side.
Yeah.
They realize it now.
They do realize it. However, the position has been given up. Satro needs to close that gap if he wants to get much ult from his kit. Lucio Reaper on the right side, going down main. Dive comes in. Cass is low.
Yes. Not a fan of Cass being the one to mark that angle.
I know, not me either, and it shows because he gets punched out super easily. There's 3 in this room. Shay gets diffed. Queen able to stabilize because of the bleed. However, huge space gained by Spartans. 4 on point. Can shove them into this room and now fight into it. Queen isolates herself. Goes at a weird angle. I think that's going to be the end of Satoru. You hate to see that. You need to kite that properly.
Again, I think maybe he's a little confused as to which side is their side.
I don't know how it is because there is a spawn indicator showing the enemy spawn for at least a few seconds.
Yeah.
This just comes with experience, though. I know most of these players are still very new. At least Overwatch 2. Makumi, half. Reaper, Doomfist in the backline. Responsive to Makumi coming back. Satoru coming back to punish it out. Shay with a teleport. Makumi gets punched out by the Doomfist. They're in their spawn. They're doing it again. Makumi whiffs it, strike 1. I think this point might be... You might have to give this point up. Lucio has to do some incredible touch. A beautiful punch coming in for the Doomfist. Gets Shay. High Noon coming out from Nightmare. Gets his 1, but I don't think that was enough. Nightmare getting isolated here. Gonna die last 2. Satoru dies. It's just kind of tragic. Kind of falling apart for Rat Milkers right now. However, we're coming up on a 4-fight alt. 4 alt fights. We got the Blade. Blade's been kind of quiet. Let's see how Grimm's beat responds. Nightmare going on to double flex support. We're going to have the Queen and the Curie Rush. However, on the side of Spartans, we have all 5 alt. Now, if you're on the side of Rat Milkers, you would love to see them burn all 5, but that's just not going to happen. They've been really disciplined on the side of Spartans. Lucio gets isolated out. Here comes the Kiriko Rush on the side of Rat Milkers. Shay strikes 2. Oh, we're having a fight. 4-man beat comes out. Doomfist is in this fight now. Punishing Shay out. Reaper going crazy with it. Gets Makumi. I think this fight's over for Rat Milkers. However, they got exactly what they needed. All 5 ults spent on the side of Sparta. I wouldn't be too mad on this. Satoru just needs to die fast. They're giving them percentage for free. Oh, this is tragic. You even got the Tracer, too. Might get the Juno Brig if they want to really extend. They got the ults out. That's what they needed to do. However, the percentage gained, we might be seeing a 1-fight territory error. 42%. Doomfist positioning himself as the roadblock here. You need to be checking these corners as a Lucio Reaper hides in the midst. They're not checking the corners. Engaging onto the low Sojourn. Sojourn survives it. Rips the blade. Nothing with the beat. However, Nightmare gets dipped by Lucio. Tank out of the picture. Satoru cleaning up 3. Showing why he's goated on the Queen. They need to clean this fight up, though. 99%. Nope, 96% on the board for Spartans. Alright. Dry fight coming in for both teams. Doomfist can build alt and OC, however, on the side of Spartans. And be really careful here. This could end in tragedy. Spartans looking to clear this high ground. They've won every fight so far on this point. Nightmare hiding in wait. Fighting the Reaper, Lucio. Satoru is making a rotation. Takes a bit longer. Grimm getting pushed into it. However, doesn't get capitalized on. Reaper taking the position. Just Satoru and Megumi both get out, however. However, super low on the side. They need some support. Trey's super low. Lou's super low. Leroy finally kills Grimm. This might have opened up the fight for Sparta. Doom deep into it. Gets Shay with a beautiful punch out of the ult. I think that's going to be the point. Taking too much poke on the engages really hurt Rat Milkers here. Sam, what do you think is going on right now?
I think they're getting really focused in on Doom engages and getting punished by Soj poke.
Alright. Hunting for Nightmare. However, Nightmare escapes him like a dream. On the side of Rat Milkers.
Have been getting really sloppy as well.
Absolutely.
Keep like getting stuck into 2 fights.
And I think this Doomfist on the side of Sparta is the big cause for it. He splits a lot of attention away from it, opening up shots for the Sojourn. However, we're coming into 5 alts for Rat Milkers. Nightmare coming out from their enemy spawn. Here comes the OC rush. Beat comes out, is good for Grim. Makumi comes in with a blade. Doesn't get anything, though. Satoru Nightmare cleaning up the low targets. Nightmare gets another one. That's fight open for Rat Milkers. Only using 3 alts there.
Yeah, 3 for 2.
Mm-hmm.
It's a solid trade.
However, we do got to recognize that the 2 alts were support alts. Nothing to really stop this Reaper. You could even beat engage if you wanted on the side of Spartans. So let's see how they play it. They got to play it a bit safer. Nightmare whiffing on the pulse. We're going back to the baseball. 2 off the map! They don't even need to use alts. They do anyways. I'm pretty sure just to survive. 83% on the board. Probably can get it to 90. Alright, 90 on the side of Rat Milkers. However, 2 in the drink. You really got to be conscious about that Doomfist punch, especially when you have environmental kills. Here we go. We got to make them sure they're checking their angle. It's this Reaper or Lucio. Could spell Doom for him. Going on the... Switching to a Torb on the side of Nightmare. Nightmare gets leg day, opens it up. I say leg day, it's just Leroy, but a lot of ease. Beat comes in for sustainability. Gets Grim. That's a support down. You hate to see it, even if you're down to... This Kiriko can support. Realizes the Suzu's out. Can only get it. Doesn't even get his 1. Makumi, however, capitalizes on it. However, the Kiriko on the side of Ramilkers is traded out. Nightmare gets another one, but with a turret. Makumi has it on the board again. Doomfist down. That might be actually fight win for Rat Milkers. I think that it is. We're going to maybe another touch. You don't know. Nope. Looks like Spartans stopping themselves. It's 2-2. Final point of this map. So far, I think it's just been kind of sloppy fights, but Nightmare opening it up constantly. Reaper still looking for this Death Blossom. Let's see if they check him. No one's looking at him. 4 fight engage here. Satoru gets his 1. You love to see that. Kiriko's down. Leroy dead. Absolutely.
We're in a 2-fight situation again.
Nightmare gets his 1. However, Shay and him go down. Reaper's in here. Reaper super low. Rat Milkers by the skin of their teeth. On the skim or the milk. Gets the flat point flip. But like you were saying, looks like there's 2 different fights at all times. Rush coming out by the side of Spartan. OC coming in. Doomfist gets it. Nightmare pops the coom. Doesn't get anything. Just a zoning ult mainly. Does its job. Nightmare gets the Reaper again. Finding the crucial picks when they matter. Grim looking super low. Grim dies. We're doing 2 fights again. Nightmare isolated now. Missing his Lucio. Basically a tank player. However, he's getting focused. Punch going in. Punch gets Shay again. You can't be losing your supports first like that. These fights, super sloppy. They're backing out, Rat Milkers. They know they need to regroup on this. Reaper holding his ult for Overwatch 3. On the side of Rat Milkers, you're coming in with 3. You're coming in with the Beat, Blade, and Queen ult. Satoru taking a lot of damage. Gotta be forced back. Time on the clock is bleeding.
Try to force something quickly on the Sojourn.
They rip that. All right, Makumi deep in by himself. Easily punished. Gets punished. Down one. Nightmare. Opening pick on the Reaper again. Particularly doesn't like that Reaper. Gotta ask him his opinions on Nightmare. Punch comes in. Shay gets eaten again. And I think that's map pit. It's tragic the amount of splits we're seeing on the side of Rat Milkers.
We also, like, maybe if we do get the bash or the sleep on him, can we bubble him off?
Alright, looks like we're probably going to take a dive mirror. Nope, Satoru on the Queen. It's a comfort pick. Personally, I do not think they have the keys to it yet. They're talking about the Doomfist, but I don't think they have the answers for it. Doomfist causing havoc for the backline while taking two simultaneous different fights. The Queen and the Lucio is going to go in with Makumi sometimes, but like sometimes that's not even the case.
What's not the case?
I just don't think they have the keys to it right now. They're talking about the Doomfist, but they're not discussing the issue of the two fights that they're constantly taking.
Yeah.
I think the backline gets distracted by the Doomfist, and then Makumi and Graham or Satoru and Graham will go too deep.
Yeah.
So they're cooking, just not with the right ingredients, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Runasapi.
I guess I should have told him to try to set a pace too, right? Like I think part of the problem is letting the Doom go first.
Yes, the pace has been extremely on the side of Spartans.
Yeah.
I don't... But let's see what's happening. Spartans rolling on the comp. They've rolled out on every single map. Shay and Graham looking to shut the Doomfist down a little harder. This on a brig is a bit more survivable.
Yeah.
Satoru getting punched out. We're fighting for coast here, it looks like. Nightmare on the Sojourn. Has more pick potential here. Looking to open it up. Reaper low. Doomfist in. Doomfist looking for the punch. Doesn't get anything.
We gotta watch our Ana. That Soch has a free angle again.
It does. No one contesting that angle. She can swing as hard as she wants. Shay gets taken out by that Sojourn, like you said. This is going to be a scrappy fight. Makumi gets his one. Satoru gets the other one. They're up. However, Nightmare gets shut down by the Doomfist. Looks like a fight win by the Rat Milkers. See if the Doomfist is going to get any more. They're leaving it.
Actually, keep pressure up on that Doom. The Doom is ISO. Just keep putting pressure on them.
Yeah, they went for the Reaper, however. That's a bit more trickier of a target. Satoru super low. Beautiful anti to keep your brig up on that fight. Makumi at 1. Makumi dies to Lucio.
Little overzealous there.
Grim gets the Lucio in return, though. Grim actually was way too overextended. Needed to fall back a little bit. Oh my god! Satoru was told to sit the fuck down. Shay gets the Doom. Love to see it. However, this stagger is going to be kind of crazy. You need your Ana up on these.
Nicely.
Rat Milkers coming back. They're going to lose lead.
In nutting. You too.
On the side of Rat Milkers, you're looking for Makumi's Pulse Bomb. So we're going to take a POV onto that. Let's see how it opens the fight. Where is the Tracer? Tracer all the way over here.
They know. They scouted her.
They scouted her. You can still get something cheeky off on this. Grim coming up on their brig ult. Reaper
Shot. We gotta do something with this.
swings wide with the pulse.
In the mid here.
Gives plenty of Doomfist. Makumi, however, gets the Reaper. The Reaper never going to be able to use his ult. However, Satoru, isolated completely, gets shut down. That's tragic.
I think that was just a backline issue. Like we were just respecting that Doom a little too much. We had 3 there looking at him, just not walking.
Talking about respect, Shay getting taken down by the Lucio. 5 ults on the side of Spartans. Coming in with 4 on the side of Rat Milkers. The OC needs to go kind of crazy to get him out of this hole, because this could get to a 100-meter lead. Makumi shuts the Sojourn down. That's an OC down. Nano out from Spartans. Satoru gets punched. OC popped. Nightmare, no respect for this team, going deep, gets the Lucio. However, the Doomfist is still running rampant in the backline. What happened? Doomfist is still in there. Nightmare gets another one. He can't be putting the team on the back like that. That was basically a fight lost by Rat Milkers. I don't know if the Queen died or Tracer gets punched, forces the recall. That's going to have them set up for a little while longer. 100 meters incoming. This.
There we go, Soldier, free poke again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Talking about we can't let her sit up here free. Nightmare doesn't come up to market. I want him to look at it though. Even if they're looking at each other, she's not looking at the rest.
Oh, here comes the OC. OC Nightmare gets shut down.
Time for him to walk on.
No, Satoru low.
On the Doom.
Sleep on the Doom.
Honestly, I think we could rally this.
We need.
It's so winnable.
I don't think it's winnable now. Queen winnable. They needed to rally. I get why they did it. They had the Doom asleep. Doom's dead, however. It is a 4v2, 4v3. Nightmare comes back. Oh, asleep onto it. However, the Ana gets shut down. Makumi saved by the skin of his teeth. Leroy, however, takes Makumi out. I lied. Spirit of JFK is in this lobby. That was a beautiful headshot. Lucio dead.
Yeah, there we go. Zone around. We need to see more of this. Just get that surge out.
No one pushing.
Not chase.
No one's pushing bot.
Nightmare chases, but he gets the kill for it.
Yep, Nightmare. Star player right now has been opening these fights up for him. Alright, they gotta look for this Reaper. They're probably holding the Brick Bash for the Reaper. Reaper in a position to use it. It's not going to. Shout used. Makumi with a pulse bomb. Let's see what Makumi cooks with it. Nightmare getting another opening pick onto the Reaper. Really doesn't like that Reaper player. Has just nothing but shut him down. There's a lot of respect on this team. They're down 2.
We're in a 2-fight situation here.
Yeah, we are.
Front line walking up, splitting that back line. Our back line managed to take care of it this time, though.
The backline does manage to take care of. Satoru gets his one with Makumi.
It's easier when our soldier stacks with them.
I agree. However, on the topic of that fight, it was just it was a bit messy of a fight.
Yeah.
Like I just can't. The messiness is really apparent. All right, Sojourn taking the high ground. That's where they will normally perch up to. You'd love to see Makumi actually come around this and take that fight. Grim and Ana split a little bit. Nightmare getting antied. Shay getting pressured out. Shay misses the sleep. That could be tragic. Nightmare rips the OC. Misses another pulse bomb. Those have been dead silent. Nightmare gets shut down with the OC. Grim's dead as well. Everyone
Split there.
going down. Yeah. The Brig was playing in the doorway. I think they needed to play together. Grim. Is there still a player back here? Makumi might be staggered out here. He just needs to run. That is a bad stagger by Makumi. Grim holding his ult to Overwatch 3. I think it's been the first ultimate, if I'm not mistaken.
I haven't seen. Yeah, I don't think there's been a rally this one.
So Shay's built up another OC. Queen has it. No DPS on the side of Rat Milkers. Reaper still holding his ult. However, Leroy has his OC. Let's see if he reaps it. Getting pressured out. That's what you wanted to see by it. No use for the OC. Meteor Strike inbound. Ooh, first rally. I think it was a bit premature, however. Gets the Lucio.
We take it. We take it.
We take it, yep. Makumi gets the Ana. This should be just fight cleanup now.
We got a counter bash.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta blow him up. Exactly. There we go.
There you go. However,
Get away with that.
there is no support ult that's going to make this OC, beat, and Reaper ult all too survivable. You need to play this almost perfectly. They're looking at the Sojourn. That's what they got to look at it. Makumi spots it out, pressuring it out, gets shut down. Here comes the beat off the Queen ult. This might be just fight end. Shay's gonna die next. Grim following her. Nightmare getting pressured out all the way into the back of the spawn. Let's see if he gets out. Half punch is good. Rat Milkers losing that fight. I think the split was kind of weird for Grim. playing on the side of the wall, away from the Ana. Alright. Spartans with ult. Reaper sneaking around.
Ana's punishable though.
Ana is punishable.
Dying.
Doesn't die. Oh, he might die now. After getting isolated. Queen has been nanoed.
We have
Have-
three behind.
We do have 3 behind. We have a Sojourn, Reaper, Doom. So no support line here. Satro could just die here.
That's the back. Yeah.
Like, this could be really bad. A Nightmare might be taking too long in this rotation. He's out of the fight.
soldier's there.
So far, the enemy soldier has got the better of that. However, Nightmare is an opening pick master for this. Shay, way too far up. She can play. She's a sniper. Gets to sleep on the Doomfist. However, no punish comes through. Grim gets punched. Makumi dies. However, we get the Doomfist. Genji super low. You need to capitalize on that. Nightmare opening it up again. Leroy taking it down. Reaper nanoed. Alt check. Never gonna happen. Nightmare gets again. Let's see if Nightmare takes out his favorite target. Doesn't look like that. Final fight territory. Rat Milkers really need to put this together. Wispy now online for the... Punch comes in.
Oh, Nightmare going along.
Satoru taking a lot of poke. Nightmare taking a super long rotation. Maybe too long. Queen's dead. OC ripped. Nothing happening. However, it gets Leroy. This is just going to be a quick cleanup fight, and that is game. Reaper still yet to see that ult. Nightmare admitting defeat. So let's go back into the comps. Let's see what they're talking about, because we're talking messy fights after messy fights here, Sam.
GG map picks.
Alright, time to read chat. How we all doing today? I see Wispy, you're in here. George, they did miss their hit scan. Nightmare gets the first picks, however. So he does his job. But let's see if the whole squad being there really does change it up for them. Wispy, let's see if you can open up this game for your team. Been kind of quiet so far. Going to Rialto, it looks like. Leroy calls for it. It's a very unorthodox pick. You rarely see this in any format, actually. I don't think I've seen it a single time in OWCS or any in my scrims either. So Rialto, very pretty map. Very underutilized. This bot is doing a thing. Alright. On the side of Spartans, I think they're just going to run the same comp. Hold on. There has been a substitute. The Reaper is gone. I'm going to say Infutso, I could be totally wrong, is playing the Pharah now. A Pharah Mercy pick is coming out on the side of Spartans. Alright, Sam. You were in there. You were common with them. How is it feeling?
Well, I actually just dragged Nightmare in here. I kind of want to get his thoughts.
Oh, actually, Nightmare, welcome to the stream. How are we doing today? First pick master. How are we feeling after that match?
What?
All right, I get Donowald. I'll pay you $1. How was the match? You were known to be the first pick guy.
I
So,
was trying to kill Moth.
did you get your first pick on that fight too?
Yeah.
Okay. So, you had a really good grudge against that Reaper. Explain that.
I do?
Yeah, every fight you opened up, it was the Reaper pick. Looked
No,
like
no,
you were
I remember
hard beaten
tagging
with the
the
Reaper.
Reaper.
You were constantly tagging the Reaper. So, how was the comms feeling in that game, though? In the games you were playing?
It was kind of like the supports talking to the DPS and the tank. They were like, back up, we can't see you. We're getting dived by Doom. And then the other two DPS were like, I'm gonna dive in. And that's basically all it was.
Okay.
There was no mentions of ult, no pipe planning.
Yeah,
I was also just told to back up.
They
But
told you to back up?
well, they were just like, so you're in.
Oh, okay.
Well, basically they were.
Yeah, you did take a silly rotate there at the end.
Like I just thought it'd be funny. Like that Soldier's crazy.
Alright, we're starting payload on Rialto, a map you don't see too often. Ram being played by Satro. Got a Pharah as well. Let's see if they can beat the Pharah Mercy. So far, just in a neutral fight. Sojourn has the angles, though. The big playing cover for Wispy. Wispy on the Widowmaker. See if we get a switch off that, or we're going to continue playing. Shot thrown out. Doesn't get his head.
Gotta Doom come around the back.
Doom is coming around the back. Grim sees it. Grim's the only one looking at it. Wispy getting pressured out by Sojourn. Sojourn is so deep in here. However, they don't see the Doom. Gets Grim for free. Shay looks like she's next on the receiving end. You would really love to have seen that marked. You don't see the Doomfist kind of look around for him, you know? Big character.
I think, our Brig needed to commit on that.
I
He
take-
needs the Doom to commit and then make a play.
I couldn't agree more. Taking a 1v1 as a support on a tank, not the best idea. However, I'm known to do that.
My knees on the enemy team.
Jericho, the coach,
What?
been missing.
Oh.
Bro.
Wispy,
I'm a busy man.
he's a busy man getting his Dollar Tree. Makumi, however, gets the boop onto the Ana.
That's huge.
Jericho, have you been watching the matches so far?
A little bit.
What what is
I'm
your
just
thoughts?
I'm just wondering where the sleep dart went. Or did he even throw it? Doom was in the back line and the Soch went in.
I don't think anybody was looking at the back line there. Wispy, however, super low.
Like, I can really punish the Doom, but it's just not happening. As soon as I say that,
They were
get
doing it on
fucking-
King's Row, but they were just not focusing it. There was a lot of counter bashes, a lot of sleep on the Doom. And I don't know, maybe they just kind of lost their confidence after that.
I felt like I was the only one shooting him whenever he's down.
Yeah.
All right.
Like,
Oh,
he was very
By the way, like,
punishable on
one
King's
shot.
Row. Like, I haven't seen a whole lot of sleeps or counter bashes since then.
Leroy getting this angle for free. No one's really marking him. Doom, it's crazy to let this hit scan. Makumi gets the Ana though. Gets shut down by the Pharah. This is the first the C9. What happened?
Where?
Well, they get the point. Doom ult out. Pharah.
Yeah, but I am winning the bet, right? Enemy team winning?
I'm pretty sure they've already won the scrim by mathematical things. All right. Pharah, while has a mercy pocket, does have the Ana Nano. You do have Leroy and his OC. Mercy getting picked first. Good. Kill it with hammers.
Kill it with hammers, kill it with hammers. Wispy needs peel. There you go.
Wispy needs peel. Ana has its Nano though. Grim with rally.
Look at this Doom.
Doomfist gets another. Makumi just gets sold by the team basically for free. Wispy going down low again. Satoru basically isolating himself.
Yeah, it's not a forced card here, but...
No, the backline is split again.
We gotta clear this Doom, yeah.
This Doomfist living in the side room for free. Wish I found an apartment like that. Jericho, you were about to say something. What are you thinking?
I thought Wispy just high nooned for no reason because I saw a glow, but I'm like, what the fuck? Why did he high noon?
All right,
Big noon.
That's just his aura, bro.
right now it looks like Rat Milker's just kind of stuck here. Doomfist, all the
The
respect.
Ram just needs to go up and get him out of there.
Yeah.
Finally.
Oh, Makumi, however, gets shut down. Gets another
There you
pick.
go.
We get the Doomfist. However, the
That.
oh, high noon out. Let's see if he gets it. Shoots the Mercy in the face and the Ana. I don't know how the Ana dies. I don't know where she was set up.
Okay. And that's a team kill.
That is a team kill. I think one of the first of the scrims. However, it was because of a very sloppy play.
Yeah, on the part of Spartans.
Absolutely. This Mercy pick,
Yeah, bro.
I think, is just straight disrespectful. However, you can get the Mercy, however... Wispy doesn't get the shots off. Makumi, however, finds it. Counterbash in. Doomfist forced to pop ult. He was super low. Let's see where he lands. He lands on the roof. Gonna see some Doomfist tech. Makumi gets punched out of the sky. Bar shouldn't be countered by a Doomfist. Ooh, beautiful sleep by Shay. Nano on it too. Makumi gets another one.
His base, we're up 2.
They make it. OC gets popped. No attached Mercy, so gets shut down. That Mercy sold the Sojourn. Typical Mercy players not being very useful. Wispy gets another shot. Makumi getting his shots in. Been a star so far on that Pharah.
Still down 1.
They are still down one. However, let's see if their touch comes in. Touch does come in. Shay, however, dies to a Doomfist. Justice is raining from above. Pharah diff. Doom gets taken down too. Mercy, being useless, dies. However, Leroy does get Makumi finally. Somebody finally clips his wings. This-
Jericho's gonna go over there. Coach, maybe?
Jericho, maybe coaching. So far, this is probably the best looking map as soon as they opened up second.
Yeah.
They had a very real chance to be shoved into the door on that bridge. However, they're opening up the map. They're getting their picks first. Wispy taking an angle, showing why he's the boss. Kills that Pharah. Unlike Nightmare and that Moth, that is dead. Satro popping it. Oh my god, gets nothing with a bash. Beautiful anti-out. Wispy might be dead, might be cooked, however, shuts the Doomfist down. Satro with the Annihilation opening this map up again. However, this is the hardest point. Wispy popping a zoning ult. Doomfist gets punched, however. Sleeps. Executed. Justice reigns from above. And that's the map. Rat Milkers looking kind of decent at the second point once they opened it.
Yeah, I think it's similar to like when they were having success with Nightmare. The same thing with like Wispy here, just kind of getting a lot of early picks and opening up the fight for them.
Absolutely. Do you think it's a Wispy thing, or do you think having the coach Jericho in is making a difference?
I think it helps that they have another player that can calm. Because I wasn't talking like Sam was.
Okay.
I wasn't talking either.
Yeah, I know. That's why I didn't talk. I was thinking about doing it, and I was like, if Sam didn't do it, there's probably a reason.
Yeah, I just wanted them to take lead and kind of just do whatever they were gonna say.
Yeah.
I didn't want to like take over their game or anything.
The only thing I told them to do was like, when we went Junker Queen, I was like, yo, let's get like a speed boost or something. And then that was the only thing I said.
So what I'm hearing is the hit scans might have been throwing those matches.
Exactly.
As Wispy shows up in the lobby, absolute dominates, so it might be a hit scan diff right now.
Oh yeah, Nightmare's a fraud. I'm kidding.
I know.
That or Jericho is
Sam-
just that good of a
this is
coach.
Sam, though.
Yeah, I went in, said nothing. They got aura buff.
It's that deep flex DPS aura buff.
I was really trying to see if they were ever being caught off guard by the Doom, which is why I'm gonna join back on their VC. Because I want to see if this is more of an issue of them just not tracking the enemy Doom well. Because I feel like when you know he's got empowered, you kind of just hide behind a wall, right? It's the classic, oh, you can't see me, you can't do shit to me.
Yeah.
Wispy aura farming that.
Play Matador with him, right? Like, no,
Yeah.
kill him again.
Yeah, it's like playing, it's like,
You're edging him.
Yeah,
oh my god. Yeah. Maybe that's why I'm so good against Doomfist. I'm just a pro edger. What?
Yeah.
Pro Edger in chat. Doom just walking up on the Grim for free. Basically half health. I don't... Shay needs to look at it. I guess Doom's a Pharah counter. Kills the Pharah. That's the second time I've seen that. Wispy
You
shuts the
really shouldn't be
Doomfist.
letting that happen.
He should not.
Alright, I'm gonna go.
Nightmare left the game like a fool. Someone invite him back. Wispy again. Maybe it was just a hit scan thing. Wispy opening these things up. Satro getting Leroy. Wispy might have got overzealous. No punish, however. He's good.
He's fine, I guess.
Alright. Alt still not being cracked too. Leroy coming in on the Sojourn. Wispy is going to be the first with alt. Gotta watch both the Doomfist punch And the sleep dart. Big things that can shut it down. Could just lining out to execute the Doomfist. Wispy again shuts down the Sojourn. That's what they needed last map. They needed someone to shut down that Sojourn now. Seen it twice so far. Lucio Reaper on the flank. Spotted out. Not going to get too much value from that. Doomfist punches in. Makumi might just go down. However, gets his Reaper. Lucio out of position. Wispy gets what he needs. Doomfist punches in. Right now it's looking all Rat Milkers. Looking clean with it. Shay gets actually deleted. That might be an opening. Oh, no support line on the side of Rat Milkers. You hate to see it. Wispy super low. Doom gets the fire again. A bit weird, champ. Satro setting up for this touch. Getting back shots by the Reaper. Read that fanfiction somewhere. Doomfist going in. Shay getting punched by the Doomfist. Sleeping in.
Both things left.
Well, however,
One dies.
the Doomfist gets a ult onto the Makumi? What is going on with Makumi? Somebody talk to him. How are you letting that happen? Grim staggered out. Doomfist apparently a bar counter. Someone get a video going. Let's get Rouse on the horn. Alright, second foot open. This corner fight, very crucial to hold. Wispy punishing the Reaper. Reaper is all the way in their spawn. Basically checking it out. Leroy gets out. Satoro looking to punish it. Doomfist back with his team now. Frontline stabilizing. Wispy taking those off angles, taking the shots into it. Gets pushed down. Grim fighting that Doomfist by himself again. Gets shoved down. Spartans with control of the high ground. Justice raining from above, however, is quieted. Satoro going low. Gets antied down. Reaper shut down. Wispy showing dominance in this lobby again. Misses it. However, jumps into a weird angle. Has to be super hard carried by his Ana Brig. That's not going to be it. Ana Brig going to be staggered out. I think that's going to be point cap. Doom going on a tear. That's a 3-piece. Let's see if he can get the 4-piece meal. Does it. And that is second
honestly,
point.
Could have nanoed my cast there.
There is a lot of alts, and they're really hesitant to use alts, and sometimes they just kind of dump it. So let's see what they're going to use here. Wispy taking a shot to the back. Satro looking for it. Makumi down low. Wispy gets his pick again, however, gets picked by the Doomfist. Wispy's being star-studded right now. Nano onto the Ramatra. Let's see if he pops the Annihilation. Looking for the Lucio. Doesn't get it. Gets it. Meteor Strike out. Shay going low. Beautiful anti. Annihilation. He's going deep for it. Doom is still in here. Get Shay. You don't like to see that. That's a huge pick by the Doomfist. Might die here, though. Reaper somewhere around there. OC popped by Leroy. That's going to be a lot of body shots if Satoro kiting in a weird direction. Going to take a lot of damage by this. Cart progress, not too much made. Nano onto the Doomfist. He was going for something there. There was some cooking in that kitchen. Leroy takes the wings off of Makumi. Wispy gets punched with that Nano. Can't recover, though. That was the easiest shutdown in his life. Reaper gets 2. This is the first time I've seen the Reaper come alive. Shay gonna die soon. Those staggers might be the end of it. Reaper finally coming alive. It's just been the Doomfist who's been the #1 target. They need this retouch. Reaper finally pops his ult. Overwatch 3 is shown up. Shadow Queen with Wispy shut down, and that is map complete. Slight change up by the Spartans. They're playing a Sombra. Satoro took it personal and was like, let's Doomfist fight. Wispy getting poked out by Leroy. Super vulnerable. Super 1. Gets destroyed by the Sombra. Satoro trying to engage. Punches good by him. Sleep by the Doomfist. Absolutely executed. Leroy, for the 4th time in the map, kills itself. I don't know what's going on. Like, I get it. Some days are rougher than most. We're just going to leave the Kiriko, I guess. Alright, Kiriko finally dealt with. Leroy switching. Oh, we're getting a whole team switch. We're getting Leroy on the Hanzo. Hog being played. Somebody please capture the point. Hog is being played. Let's see how Satoru likes the taste of his own medicine. Pick onto Wispy. Gets hooked. Doesn't get anything. Gets sustained by his healers. Satoru super low. Gets the Hog. I don't know what happened there. Hog's normally super hard to burn as a Doomfist.
Wow.
Engaged punch. Doesn't get anything. Shay gets the Lucio, however. Makumi with the beam onto the Kiriko. Leroy getting bullied.
One fight after the Doom Mirror, he swaps Hog. That is so cringe, bro.
That is cringe, but however, let's talk about cringe. Makumi going to Narnia for some reason. He got its one pick and decided away. It's on vacation. Shadow Queen now onto the Zen. I think this just might be them having fun at this point. This is an interesting comp to play into a Doomfist. The Zen Ana, very risky. Satoru hacked. Sombra destroyed, laid out. Makumi getting focused. However, Wispy gets it. They're up 1 right now. Doomfist. Beautiful anti. They should be able to punish this. The Ana's way out of position. Doom gets his one. Hog gets his one. Who's on point? It looks like just Sombra pressure on point. Someone needs to touch it. Deny that. Wispy gets the Zen. Satoru gets the Sombra. Personally, from what I'm seeing right now, Spartans look like they're just having fun. Final map of the series, they're kicking back.
Is it getting 100-0 fun?
It's not, but like you're running a Hog, Zen Ana. Hog only one with built, and then you also have a Hanzo for the loads of it, I guess? They're just opening up themselves for this Doomfist punch. Wispy with a high noon. Zoning. Someone has to touch point. No one touches point. 5 people live, and they don't decide to do anything with it. Wispy getting his 2. Makumi just finishing it off. Sam, I think we're at the end of the scrim here.
Yeah.
It just...
He took the wrong Doom perk, he says.
Ah, that was the problem. The wrong Doom perk. So,
I thought I was on Ghost of Tsushima.
enemy team already discussing what they're going to be playing next. Looks like Ghost of Tsushima. I fucking totally butchered that one.
I believe it's pronounced Tsushima.
It is Tsushima.
0% weapon accuracy.
Tsushima. Let my angle blade. Live Legacy, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it.
I need to
Shout out Live Legacy.
Live Legacy. Welcome to the Scrim Frat Milkers right now. Just playing for fun. Not Rat Milkers, Spartans playing for fun. Rat Milkers finally getting the first map win? No, point win? Looks like they're chilling. Alright, teased on the ready. Going into City Center. Teased again. Here we go. Surely we don't get teased a 3rd time. We don't, and we're off. On the side of Spartans, we're seeing a ball comp. Leroy switching to the Sombra. That was... They're switching roles, actually. Leroy was their hit scan player. Shadow Queen, pretty sure was their flex support, so... I'm very confused on this comp. That's why I'm saying this is Shadow Queen getting punished from an overextension. Wispy on the right angle, finally. Grim getting punished. However, the Ana Brig backline too much for this. Satoru kills their 2. They need to come back for their support line. Thrown in a corner. Wispy gets another one. Wispy's been the standout player since he's got back. Satoru going in.
Be my goat.
Wispy, silent goat. Comes out of nowhere. No ults built on the side of Spartans. Shadow Queen, I don't know where she is. She's super low, though. Wispy going down low, half. Shay misses the sleep dart.
I think he shielded the slam though.
Makumi, Shay gets shot. Shay's getting absolutely burnt. Might die here. Doesn't.
We need a pack hunter. There we go.
There you go. Pile driver out. Here's another contest. Doomfist. Not too much damage coming up. They're playing very well. Or their Sojourn is playing very poorly. Not taking a lot of angles. I'm pretty sure just down mid. Wispy shows what a hit scan player is supposed to do. Makumi gets the Juno. However, Leroy finally gets Shay. He's been fishing for that for a while. Ball's dead.
Yes. Spartans were playing that conga line there.
They're playing just for fun. Satoru gets slept, however, punches the Ana. Like I said, Sam, I think Spartans just playing for fun at this point. Soldier 76 is coming out. Apparently Sojourn was too hard for him. Gas the Reaper. Leroy EMPing the backline for fun, I guess. No follow-up. Shadow Queen thinking it's a Tracer. Wispy, however, doesn't get the pick. Satoru gets it. Wispy gets the Ana. Sleep onto the Soldier 76. That's technically map win, I think. There's nothing to touch. Nope, I lied. There's still a ball. Hasn't moved. There's their touch. High noon out. Probably going to execute the ball. Mine's out. Let's see how many people eat these. No one does. Reaper comes out finally. Reaper is nanoed, actually, on the side of Spartans. Punch into it. Blades out. Gets the dash kill, however. Grim dies to the Reaper. Ana getting burnt down. Doesn't actually get burnt down. Savior Makumi comes and kills the Sombra. Shay's putting a ring around the rosy, trying not to die to this ball. Ball just doing stall for touching. His team's going to be back. Mortar's actually out in the field. Rat Milkers.
Has yet to die, by the way.
Yet to die, however, I think it is just... They're like I said, I don't think they're playing seriously. But Rat Milkers do technically get their first map win of the scrim. So congratulations on to them. They'll be playing Volcano next. Looks like they're going to be running on the side of Spartans their signature comp with a Moira. Probably going to change to Lucio. Satoru looking pretty decent on the Doomfist, though. I will give it to that. Much more speed and momentum into their game. Alright, as we head into the final map, Sam, what would you like to see out of Rat Milkers?
Just keep it up. Just keep trying to get your fight wins. Don't take 2 fights. Take 1. Keep up the comms. Keep up the morale. Get a win.
Apparently I can't zoom through that. Reaper piloting the ship. Alright, 3 decades behind. The telegram finally comes in.
They're back on their main. Looks like they're all back on their main roles and comp here.
Yes, they are. So let's see if their Doomfist can stack up. Leroy, super low. Doomfist also half. Shay gets Leroy.
She gets an 8 on him though. That's good.
Doomfist
Good
punching each other in the face.
Really
Satoru
really good.
capitalize on that. And again, the Reaper goes down low. That was actually a beautiful fight. Shadow Queen misses. You could probably punish the Ana. Yes, the Ana. Leroy, back it up. Fight win. Far side of Rat Milkers. Alright, as we set up for the next fight, Satoru probably looking to be the first one to build alt. I lied. Wispy's actually giga farming alt. Wispy super low. Gets the end, you know.
We gotta do something about the Sojourn. Malcolm goes to market.
Satoru gets shot. Makumi loses that fight. However, the soldier needs to go back and recover. They have time to open this up. Wispy gets the Reaper. They need to punish this Doomfist. He's free. However, he's not. He punched the wall. Stabilize. Leroy taking an off angle here. Doomfist again, super low.
Punish that Doom.
Doom finally punished. 50% on the board.
Yeah, I was about to say that Lucio's out of position.
Lucio gets punished.
Punish
Leroy.
George, maybe?
Shay gets Leroy. Wispy gets Shadow. So far, looking pretty clean. Need to punish the
Looking at a
Doomfist.
300-0.
Or might looking like a 300-0. However, let's not say anything. Doomfist with ult. He's known to be deadly with it.
Low again.
Super low with it. However, that's an early engage by him. 4 ults coming up for side of Rat Milkers. You'd love to see them start using it progressively. Doomfist punish.
Early.
Wispy
Early 9-0. We got a 1
doesn't get anything. Wispy gets the Reaper.
Sleep on the Doom.
Beautiful sleep on the Doomfist.
Punish him.
OC out. Doomfist down. It's just the OC. This might be a game.
Here. We gotta watch that.
That's it. That might be game. Unless Lucio can get a rollout here. I think that's it. Grim popping it. Nope, a touch by the Reaper, but you should be able to punish that Reaper. That's some also good Inspire block. Doomfist is in. Need to burn this Doomfist real fast. Doomfist it.
Doomfist is on the field.
Alright, that is a 300-0 Rat Milkers getting their first map win. Let's go down and see how they feel.
They did it.
They done did it.
GGS, right, we're done.
7-0. I'm so proud.
YFS.
Oh my god, I'm taking a picture.
GGS.
Well played, everybody, especially Crispy.
Woo!
And Shay, not Snap.
That's my Genji right there. Oh, that's not my Genji. Yeah.
What
happened?
happened?
I
wasn't looking. I saw the first part, but then my screen blanked out. I think mine did too. When I was playing.
TYYFS.
Oh,
Really? Well, Kumi's actually been playing with his monitor off the whole time.
That's how cracked he is.
Crazy work.
Wait, I'm supposed to plug this thing in?
Alright, GG's everybody.
Oh.
Do we
Everyone.
I wanted to ask if we had time and resources for VOD review right after. If not, that's okay. I just wanted to ask.
Thoughts, Jericho.
Alright, while things are widening down, I would like to thank everyone for coming out. Thank you for the follows, particularly Mythical Pig, Live Legacy, real MVPs of this stream. Thank you guys for coming out for my cast, and I'm going to end it right there. So we will see you guys on the next stream, which is going to be our Remember Me scrim. Alright, everyone, have a good day.